A wise man once said, a person is smart, but people are dumb, panicky, dangerous animals. Case in point, Missoula is in the grip of an exodus. Once fine, settled people are abandoning their homes and businesses and hopping the next train out of town. Tales of roving hangmen descending with the nightfall have struck fear in the hearts of these folk, and little has been offered to dissuade them. High tension, rumor, and fear are a heady brew bubbling away in the cauldron of Missoula Valley that will no doubt lead to more death and misery before the fever breaks. This is, of course, the goal of the dark spirits we call Manitou. They seek to sow fear, hatred, and malice, twisting first the minds and then the land itself, making ready our world with the seeds of war, famine, death, and pestilence, preparing the way for their true masters, the Reckoners, who wait on the other side of the veil until the day comes that Earth has been made ready for them, and they can step forth from their realm of shadows and into the Deadlands. Hi, folks. I am your Marshal once again. And statistically speaking, you probably are not Cheyenne Wright. But, you know, there's got to be some of you out there. I'm going to introduce you to all the other people that you are statistically probably not tonight. Starting clockwise at the bottom 7 o'clock hour, we're going to go with Todd Moonbounce. Say hello, folks.
Hello all, Todd Moonbounce here. I will be playing Amadeaus Amy Haddock. So glad for another session tonight. You can find me online at Todd Moonbounce, Twitter and Twitch, and strap in. This ride is still going.
And then going up around at 11 o'clock, we got tonight sitting in the top left-hand corner, Bizarre Hands. Say hello, folks.
Hello, Hunting Grounds. I am Bizarre Hands, and my pronouns are he, him. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram. I am looking forward to portraying Bob Morrow this session. I'm very glad to have you here. Let's see what happens.
And then over across the meridian at 2 o'clock, we have Candace Marie.
Hi, everybody. Candace Magnificent here, playing Jaemison Jem Freeman. I'm so happy you guys are back tonight. Let's see what the Marshal has in store.
And then round in the corner down at the 5 o'clock, we got Ryan Howard.
Hey everybody, I am Ryan Howard, the creator and host of Rollin' Bones with Ryan Howard, now available in regular human colors. So here we go. And yeah, let's get this show on the road and see if there's more monsters for Clayton to murder tonight.
New camera, new Ryan, new Clayton MacTaggart. All right. Does that mean
Clayton's probably the same?
No, okay. Clayton's probably the same. All right. So a little bit less of the purple prose this week?
Absolutely.
All right. Okay, well, speaking of where we last left off, after facing down some ghouly ghosts back at Mama Haddock's farm, you rode out to find their graves, where you discovered the graves had been disturbed and the skulls of the 5 men hung in Hellgate in 64 missing. And learned from a passing wagon that people back in Missoula were in a panic as another citizen had been found hung. You race back to Missoula, managed to quell a possible riot at the train station, and then went off to find the sheriff to see why he wasn't there and about. Well, it turns out the sheriff had crawled into a bottle. You set out to some of you set out to sort of sober him up and you heard the story of poor Joe, who ran the Occidental, and what had happened to him, found hung inside a locked building, but apparently had pulled a shotgun in order to defend himself against nobody. But you have pretty good idea of what was going on. And where we last left off, Jem was walking the widow Virginia back to her hotel. And as we were ending that, I pulled the camera back to reveal a figure watching from the shadows of an alley nearby. And we're going to go right back to that scene, actually, as we pick up. So, you've walked Virginia back to... Actually, let me readjust my screen so I can look at you guys a little bit more directly. Move my scripts out of the way here. There, hi. All right, so you walked Virginia back to the hotel, and as she stops there, she turns to you and says, "Well, deputy, I'd like to thank you very much for escorting me back safely to my my hotel. Perhaps when you've solved this current crisis, you can pay me a visit."
I take my hat off, and I hold it in front of my chest, and I give her a little bow, and I kind of gesture like I would like her to hold out her hand so I can kiss it, and I say, "Oh, the pleasure is all mine."
She does, and as you kiss her hand, and she kind of like hooks a couple of her fingers between a couple of yours for a moment, and before pulling it away. And give me a notice check, -2.
I'm not noticing anything. Let's be real. You said -2?
Yeah.
Okay.
You're unlike. I mean, yeah. You're just too distracted. That normal sense of foreboding and forewarning just is completely subsumed by what you're doing at the moment, and you don't feel that sense of danger that you might have in other situations. And as you turn to, yeah, you can take. Now that said, you didn't only miss by 1. You can take a +1 from the spirit realm.
Can I? Would you mind?
Yeah. I got no problem with it. Use them up.
All right, let's do a +1 on that, so I can.
All right, so
it's just a smooch on the hand, you guys.
Right? Yeah.
Only if it's not to just get deeper in with Miss Virginia here.
Yeah.
That's on your own.
All right, you kiss her on the hand. She hooks your fingers just a moment, and then goes to walk away. And as you're watching her walk in and through the window just to make sure she makes it to the stairwell, you feel, you can feel like that sensation, like you're being watched. It's not something that's necessarily uncommon. You just walk this woman back to her hotel straight through the front street. You're used to drawing that sort of attention from in time to time. It's something you've had to live with, but at this moment, there's something more to it. You can feel the hairs on the back of your neck stand up, and as you turn,
I want to draw my weapon.
You actually draw your weapon standing there on the street?
I just kind of get my tomahawk in my hand and get ready, just in case someone's sitting on me.
Okay. Do you just sort of like try to ignore it, like or act unawares, or do you look around?
I want to look around.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you sort of scan your eyes around, first to the left and then to the right, and as you turn around, you see across the street, in the alley between two buildings, this tall, thin, sallow-cheeked man, kind of leaning up against one of the posts right there at the edge of the building. Hat kind of half turned down, but eyes staring straight at you. He's wearing
Yeah.
Huh?
Am I by myself?
You are by yourself amongst the posse, but there are people on the street still.
Okay.
People going back and forth. Horses and carts and whatnot. Like I said, the place is kind of in a hectic panic as people are packing up and plenty of people are planning to get out of town. But straight through that crowd that's going back and forth is this individual just staring you down there. Just eyes just grazing underneath the brim of his hat. And they are dark eyes.
Okay. Can I kind of like act like I'm walking away, but like make my way like kind of in a semicircle, like so I'm closer. Like I'm not across, I'm kind of more diagonal, but I'm heading back towards where the guys are, but I'm still keeping my eyes on this person.
Well, you can do that for part of the way, but eventually you do have to turn your back on him.
Oh no. Okay. All right.
If you're in order to get back to where your friends are.
Yeah.
Just because where he's located, it's just you. Unless you're going to walk backwards down that street to get where you're going.
I think instead I'm gonna stay put. Are there stairs leading up into this hotel? Like, is there a porch?
Yeah. There's like a little two-step porch onto a wooden boardwalk. That sort of like runs, stop and go all the way down the street.
So I'm gonna step up onto that so I can keep my eyes on this person.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna take a swig out of my flask and kind of just like lean back and watch him back. And hopefully my friends will come soon.
Well, as I recall, your rest of your friends were planning on heading over to the mayor's house.
No, I'm supposed to be right back.
Or Earl's shop, I think.
Well, if you guys are heading to Earl's shop, then in that case, that's right down the street from the hotel.
Right.
Yes.
It's like 2 or 3 buildings down the street. So,
that was my intention,
Okay.
at least, definitely.
All right. So, and with that in mind, you wait for about 5 minutes. He doesn't seem to move. And he doesn't seem to falter in his study of you. Until you catch out of the corner of your eye the rest of the posse showing up.
Okay. Can I whistle? Can I like do a whistle that like hopefully Amy will know that's me being like, hey.
Give me a persuasion roll to see if you can say if you can whistle, look out, there's a guy across the street. Yeah, sure. As you guys, the 3 of you come walking down the street, come around the corner from Higgins and head south on First, or what I'm calling south on First. You see Amy kind of looking a little. I'm sorry, not Amy. Jem looking a little nervous.
You guys hear that? Hang on.
So Amy, when you look over at me and you whistle, I kind of go and take another long swig and keep staring at the guy.
Yeah, you guys see a figure leaning up against the building, across the street from Jem, across the street from the Windsor Hotel, about 2 buildings down from the Bennett General Store, or the Bennett Store, lumber and tools and whatnot. Doesn't appear to be actively moving out into the street. He's wearing pair of pistols hung low on a gun belt. Coat is sort of the suit and coat are all black. It's got a sort of a long frock coat kind of a deal going on, but with the tails of it tucked back behind the holsters for clear and easy access. Just
And this ain't the cross draw that you referenced.
No, they're
earlier.
definitely on a gun belt and worn low.
Okay.
And the figure he's very tall, over 6 foot, thin, with a sort of sallow complexion that looks like wet leather.
Just what's our distance between Jem and ourselves at this point?
You're about 2 buildings down
Okay.
when you first come around, because you're standing right in front of the Bennett place, and like I said, she's just about 2 buildings down. It's maybe 20 yards, and then it's 10 yards across. The street is about 10 yards across.
Yeah, I'll definitely start moving to meet, at least if Jem is still walking towards us, move to meet him halfway.
Do you at this point, knowing your friends are here, you feel safe turning your back on the guy? Okay.
Yeah. Because I know that they can see him, so I kind of just hurry over and kind of sidle on up to them and say, "Hey, so that sackcloth-headed man has been watching me as I drop Miss Virginia off, and I'm none too sure what he could want."
The sackcloth headed what?
Check him out. And like I point right at him.
He just seems to be staring down the street now at you guys. Then he straightens up, turns, and walks down the alley.
I don't know about y'all, but I think I want to follow him. Mm-hmm.
Sorry, that was a lot of people talking at the
look,
same time.
I think I look at Clayton and I'm like, I'd give like a hand gesture, like go, because I know he's gonna want to probably.
Yes, as soon as I see him turn, I immediately like head after him and I shout, "Hey!"
You come running up to the edge of the alleyway, and you expect to see him down, because it's a good like 20 yards to get to the 20-30 yards to get to the corner of the building there. You expect to see him on the far side. You come round and around the corner, and he's standing right there. Just walked out of sight, but not far enough away. And he just kind of looks down at you. Not my name.
Where you think you're going in such a hurry, Stretch?
Where I damn well please.
Come on back here.
Why? You can smell this strong odor of alcohol just sort of leaching off of him, almost like evaporating off of his skin.
I don't like to shoot a man in the back. I prefer to shoot him in the face if I need to shoot him.
You have a fine way of saying hello.
You're lucky you got that much from Mr. MacTaggart here.
So Amy's ran to catch up?
Sorry, yes, I will
okay.
Come forward and catch up, yes.
All right.
I say, listen, y'all, I suspect this man is here for me. What's your name, friend, and how can I help you?
You can call me Jack.
And is this true? Are you after our friend here?
No, I ain't after nobody. Yet?
I look at Jem and so what's your observation here, Jem? Other than just some stinky tall fella throwing your eyes, what's
First of all, he was watching me as I took Miss Virginia upstairs, dropped her off at her hotel. Then I noticed him making eyes at me from across the way, and that ain't no crime, but you look an awful lot and smell an awful lot like the man we're looking for that might have killed 2 people. Maybe 3.
You'll have to explain who. I killed a lot of people.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's start with Morgan Bennett.
Never touched him.
And Russell?
Don't recollect I call that name.
And where's the rest of your posse heading out?
What posse? I don't need help.
help with what? You
If
kill
I'm
him?
gonna kill someone, I can do it all on my own. If you don't mind,
What about...
I'd like to get on with my business of not killing people today.
Just one more question for you, partner.
That 10 sure does make you brave.
It ain't the 10, boy. And I pull my coat back so we can see my guns. It's the
He leans in
iron.
real close. He leans in real close and says, "Don't call me boy, son."
All right, we'll have it your
You-
way.
And
sir.
just underneath the alcohol, you catch a whiff. You just catch the whiff of something else, something sweet and rotten.
Well, before you take your leave, why don't you let us know where we can find you, just in case we might want to talk again.
He thinks for a minute. He goes, "Well, hell's a good start."
You been out near old Hellgate recently?
Recent time don't mean nothing, son. But I've been all over this place. Tell you what, you got something specific to say, I'll listen. Till then, he points down to the other end of Front Street at one of the saloons over there. And he says, "I'll be sitting over there. Actually, Delmonico sounds nice. Woman works it real pretty. Maybe I'll entertain myself there."
I do have one more question for you, friend. What do you know about Captain Williams?
Give me a notice roll.
Nice.
The mention of the Captain Williams's name, his eyes, he's focusing on. He seems to take a real dislike to Clayton for some reason.
For
But
some
when
reason.
his eyes flash over to yours, and they're like I said, they're dark, almost black in the light, in the shadowed light of the alleyway here. But something happens when they dart over. They catch some sparkle or glint off of something, and for a brief moment, you see them glow red. And then, but it's gone. You only saw it for the briefest of moments. And he seems to recover from his this strange look across his face, this bitter twist to his mouth. And he goes, Williams, what do I know? Yeah, that's another good murderer, if that's what you're looking for.
Another?
Well, you seem to be all about it. That's what your questions have been, right? Right? So, gonna take 4 deputies to see me to my stool?
We're gonna be keeping an eye on you, sir.
Best of luck. He steps out of the alleyway. The spurs on his boots jing jang jing jing as he clops down the length of the boardwalk.
I immediately turn to Morrow and I say, "Hey there, Bob. So, just from studying a little bit, I think I noticed that you might know a little bit about the occult, otherworldliness, maybe."
Perhaps, but there's a whole lot of holes we have, and I don't even know that you don't know more than I do.
Let me tell y'all something. Just now when I mentioned Captain Williams, that man's eyes glowed red.
They did.
I wasn't
right.
just seeing something.
So, Bob Morrow, that is a 7 on your occult roll. 1 more point would make that a hit and a raise.
We can dig into a +1 if the
All right.
if the party
Boom.
is acceptable to that.
Absolutely.
Good douche.
All good.
All right, hit and a raise. All right, so what exactly are you trying to occult here at this moment? Just
I think know a little bit more about the tall man and just sort of understand the difference between like it was already described that there was physical manifestations as well as spiritual manifestations.
Yeah.
So what are the
Your
differences?
Your
between-
assessment, based on his look and odor, and from what you just saw, is there are different kinds of death and undead in the West, and what jumps out at
Right.
you here,
And the tall man was manifesting as a physical sort of transgression against humanity, but there are other spiritual ones that also take place, or
well, no, let me. You definitely clock that this guy was no longer among the living.
okay.
But there's a special category in the agency. There's a type that sort of rot and fall apart and are kind of a little bit not what you would call mindless. They're still crafty, but they tend to be focused mostly on visceral violence, and then there are others that retain some greater control of their former existence.
Oh.
And with the former you'd call the walking dead, or what other folks might call a zombie. The latter have a special classification amongst the amongst your order, that of the harrowed. The harrowed can maintain their full information on their prior life, but they wrestle with an inner darkness that can sometimes lash out and make them become evil. Now, not all Herod are good necessarily. There are sometimes they're just as evil as the thing wiggling around inside them. It all depends on who they were in life. Whereas most of the Walking Dead, they're just flat. There ain't nothing left of what they used to be. They are just spirits that have taken the flesh of something else over entirely. Herod are a lot more dangerous because with that push and pull between the two of them, Herod can sometimes manifest a lot more spiritual oomph in different areas. They can call upon vastly more complicated powers.
I think Bob sort of leads a TED talk and just sort of explains the differences between those two, and is very, very clear that this is probably a Herod rather than that sort of generic undead, and that we are altogether more subject to more risks than we might be otherwise.
So this one still have his bones?
It would be hard to say that. Yeah, you'd think he's all there, if somewhat pickled.
That goes a long way to explaining the smell, I guess.
Maybe he puts down all that hooch to cover it up. What the heck? What the hell would be sweet?
I can tell you right now, I've been out on the plains. You could smell death from a mile away. That's what death smells like. Sweet and a little rotten and like it's been cooking in the sun.
I reckon we can do better.
All right. So, this conversation is still being taking place in that alleyway, I'm assuming. Where do you go from here? When you come back out of the alleyway, he has disappeared into the group, amongst the crowd of people walking back and forth, and you don't see him anywhere else on the street.
Time of day, Marshal? Morning or late morning, afternoon?
It's a little after noon. Yeah.
Okay, at lunchtime.
Yeah, it was almost high noon, but
Well, I mean, I'm not going to say that this peculiar individual is not somehow related to our happenings here. And now, Clayton, you certainly got something on your to-do list. Do we divide and conquer here, or we dealing with something, Bob, here that we're going to want to stick together? I think I'll lean towards the latter regardless. But
I reckon the latter is awfully wise, but I can't be sure where they are and how we track them. I need all of you to do that.
I'm ready to follow you, Clayton.
Seems to me that we need to find every person still alive in this town that was there when the Vigilance Committee was running amok. We need to get them into one easily defendable location. And we need to draw out some monsters.
I look over at Jem as Clayton says that, mentioning that list of group of people.
All right. You folks were going to go take this to the mayor, I believe, last you were talking about this, but you wanted to stop in at the Bennett shop first, right?
Mhm.
What are you going to do there necessarily? I mean, this is a quick visit. What are the plans?
Basically, Amy is on this. I think the same thinking that Clayton is for Earl rather than the mayor.
Okay.
Basically saying, okay, we have this, list of people for Final Destination, and we need to try and get ahead of that. And Earl's the next name on my list to check on, given he's, Morgan's brother.
Okay. You stroll in to the Bennett brothers shop, and Earl is there. He does not appear to be frantically packing up the shop or making plans to flee Missoula. He appears to be having conversation with some people who are in the middle of trying to convince him to. As you guys come walking in, and he looks over to you and kind of smiles and gives you a nod when you come in, and he kind of like says, "Well, I don't want to hold you up. If you're so adamant about getting out of town, you best be going. Day's about half over." And they and storm off. He turns over to you, and he turns to you folks. He says, can I help you?
Hey, Earl.
Hey.
How
Hey,
you
Amy.
doing?
Howdy, Earl.
Hi, Jim. How I'm doing? That's hard to gauge. Numb at the moment? Things have gotten strange. You ever just wake up and decide that strange is just the way things are going to be for a long time?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's what's going on.
So, seems that you're not following suit with the rest of folks and getting out of here. And I don't blame you, but
No.
we have some concerns about some of these fortunate happenings in town, and well, I mean, there's no just right to the point. Earl, you might be on a list.
A list? What kind?
Well,
What do you
we're
mean?
seeing a little bit of a connection between these untimely deaths.
Okay.
All
right.
folks that seem to be tied back to Hellgate.
Okay. Why? I mean, Hellgate was pretty much gone by the time I was 16. It's 20 years ago.
Well, that's 16 years prior that you were there, right?
Well, I guess, but
I think it's enough of a connection. You're
all right.
rest his soul, but look at your brother.
Yeah. What are you proposing then?
I don't really know. But
Okay.
we need
Well, we're all in the same boat then.
yeah.
Let me ask you something, Earl. You remember those boys roding in town into Hellgate? Y'all ended up burying them right outside city limits.
Oh, oh wow, that was a long time ago. You mean the vigilantes that rode into town, or do you mean the folks they hung?
All I know is that there were 5 graves right there on the outskirts of town, supposedly dug by you and your brother.
Oh, no. It wasn't me and my brother. It was my brother and Russell.
Russell. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it was my brother and Russell, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. So now your brother is obviously gone. So's Russell. And when we was up at Mama Haddock's farm, we ran into some sackcloth-headed men. You know, like the children's rhyme.
Yeah. Oh my. Yeah, I remember that. Oh, he looks over at Amy. Used to make you cry. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to laugh.
It's all good. All in fun, suppose. I guess,
Yeah.
though,
I remember that.
I think Jem's on to something, and now you know me, and always been maybe overly cautious, but it sounds like we know why Russell and Morgan might have been targeted here.
So they were targeted because they buried them folks 20 years ago?
We think it probably had something to do with it, but right now, 4 of us are operating under the assumption that maybe you don't have to have done much at all except reside there. I think they might think some vengeance is in order. You remember a man called Captain Williams?
I've heard the name, yeah.
What do you know about him? Amy
Well,
and me was too young.
Well, I remember my Pa used to talk about him all the time. He was he was sort of like the feller that was doing all the organizing for them vigilante raids back in '64. You know, there was all over the place. It was I think it was out of Alder Gulch originally. Wasn't from around here. I know that. But he was the only one of them that rode without the hoods. To sort of put a face and a legitimacy, he said, on the proceedings. They were taking the law into their own hands, doing whatever, going after folks that the local law couldn't or wouldn't for whatever reason. You know, they would track down folks that were stealing horses or robbing gold shipments, killing people. There was a lot of it going on back then, from what I understand.
I see, but do you know if maybe they ever prosecuted somebody that might not have been, I don't know, guilty?
Well, it did get pretty dire there. From what I understand, it got worse and worse. I mean, it started off with serious crimes, but by the end of '64, they were leaving like threatening messages on people's doors, and just they had become their own gang essentially.
See, I kind of
And,
give a
then it-
knowing glance at everybody.
Then it just kind of stopped.
Is it or is it not true that a man was hung up for simply disturbing the peace? That seems wrong.
It does, doesn't it? Well, it was around here. It wasn't in Hellgate, but you know they probably have that in the newspapers. I mean, the Pioneer's got all records that goes back that far.
You know, there's some hidden message in those articles there, Bob. I give a poor attempt to lighten the mood.
I have been cleared to read all those 7th articles of importance, but but I know that any man that gets hung up for simply disturbing the peace is almost certainly, well, that ain't justice. That's just
And that's
fire, and that's just furor.
yeah. And if you had the capabilities to come back from something like that, I'd reckon you'd be pretty frustrated, pretty angry, and want to remedy that. Wouldn't you say?
I'd say so.
I
Where was the last time you heard about this Captain Williams? His last whereabouts? You know where we could maybe find him here in Missoula?
No, sorry. I can't say that I do. He just sort of disappeared after 64. Just, I mean, I heard about him occasionally. And then about 3 or 4
left
years
onto
after
a
that.
farm and sort
Yes,
of
I
faded
heard that
away.
he like retired or something. And I don't know anything else about that. Again, you know, Frank Woody would probably know that. He did all the paperwork. He was the county clerk and everything. He'd probably have all that information: who owns what land, all that sort of stuff.
Clayton, we may be running out of time we don't have.
Yep.
Earl, listen. It's just out of abundance of caution. I don't want to see something happen to you too. And
Well, I don't want to see anything happen to me either.
so just be careful, I guess.
Okay. I will make sure to write that down.
What kind of store is this? Is it just a general store?
It's more. It's like a lumber and construction tools and supplies and that sort of thing.
Gotcha.
And they also do like wagon repair and that sort of thing.
Okay, gotcha. Earl, you got yourself a scatter gun?
Yeah, of course.
Take it. Make sure that your shots are filled with rock salt, the way that ranchers do.
All right. Then okay.
Gather up all the folks you know around here that lived in or around Old Hellgate. Get yourselves into some kind of storm cellar or some place that's only got one way in, one way out. Take a handful of that rock salt, put it in front of the entrance, and stay in there until I come and get you.
Give me a persuasion roll on that one.
Alrighty.
Can I assist?
Or you can make it intimidation if you like.
It's
Yes.
6 of one, half dozen of the other, so I
Yeah,
will...
you can certainly assist on that, though.
Okay. So I assist and just kind of go, come on, Earl. It's me and Amy. We trust Clayton. You could trust Clayton.
All right. It's outcome's the same either way, which is still a success. He's like, he seems confused by the request, but he believes that you mean it. That's for sure. He's like, all right. You're not sure if the all right is like, you can go now, or I will certainly do that, but he's taking you seriously.
As we're leaving, I'll turn to him and say, Earl, I know what I sound like. But just so you know, these things that are coming after you, they ain't alive. At least not anymore.
That seems to ring a little bit more surprising to him. He goes, well, that does have an effect on the landscape. All right.
Is there would he have some rock salt on hand, or I would like to grab some for my sawed off as well.
He says, "Yeah, we use it. We use it for when it gets icy. He's got a big old bin of it somewhere. He goes looking around, pulls some out.
Down at the rest of my companions. Anyone else looking for a fill?
Yeah, I'll take some.
He takes a glass mason jar, fills it up with some rock salt, hands it to you.
I think Bob makes sure that everyone sort of settles up their shot, specifically for shotguns, if not for 6 guns, and just supervises it, making sure that they dig into that very, very specific sort of material and approve
it
of
makes
it.
sense. It makes sense for shotguns. It's hard to use it anywhere else, right?
Did we? This is a little out of character. Did anyone use silver bullets? I don't think anyone.
No.
Okay. All right.
Nope.
Bob did use a ammo whammy that treated his ammo as if it was silver.
Okay.
I believe.
And he's often talked about how he's really not sure about the questions that he makes, but if you might be inclined to sort of dig into what he's thinking, then perhaps you would have one sort of sidearm that had this very, very precious metal deployed for implements rather than lead. Like, if you'd care to subscribe to his beliefs, then maybe you'd dig into silver rather than lead. But
there is a gunsmith on Front Street that you could go to and get special ammo cartridges made, probably, if you didn't want to do it yourself. But it would certainly raise a bunch of eyebrows.
Oh.
So you're back out on the street. What are your plans after that? After talking to Earl?
I think we need to go see the mayor.
I agree.
Yep.
Okay.
Hi.
It's not that hard. You ask around real quick, and you're directed to his. You know that his office was not open because it was right next door to the sheriff's office. It wasn't open when you were there, but you get directions to his house, which is not too far away from the office. And you show up. You do see a small group of people, kind of like standing around outside, like they're waiting for the mayor to come out and say something. But when you come walking up, they don't get in your way or anything.
Like they're
Y'all
waiting
seen
for
the
him to
mayor?
come out, or come out in a bag.
Like they're just kind of waiting
What's the
around.
mood?
Tense, panicked, but no one's saying anything. No one's.
Kind of like, where's the mayor? Why isn't he out here addressing the?
Yeah.
Okay.
I asked like the nearest, looky loo.
Mhm.
Y'all seen the mayor?
Like none of them. They all shake their heads and kind of shrug.
Is he hiding in there? Or he just ain't home.
Well, one guy says, "I saw him. He was looked out the window about 10 minutes ago, and ducked when he saw me see him."
I'm gonna stand on the mayor's porch. I'm gonna turn around to the kind of assembled people, and I'm gonna say, "All right, sheriff's deputy's here. Y'all disperse." And I'd like to roll intimidation.
All right. You guys gonna pitch in and help him out with that, or just you gonna please do so? Because that's a
I just gotta
6.
stay back. I haven't put my badge on yet.
Mhm.
It's not something I want to feel comfortable doing. So.
Right. Who
Can I
else?
use persuasion
Oh, yeah, sure.
to back him up?
Yeah, you can support with any other skill check as long as it kind of makes sense.
Okay.
All right, that's a +1. Makes that 6 a 7. Anyone else?
Nothing here.
Take the +1. Take the +1.
Yeah,
You want to take a +1 and get a raise?
Yeah, I'll take a +1.
Yep.
All right, +1 taken. And with that, you stare down the crowd, and they kind of like get nervous after a while. And Jem comes along and very politely says, I would trust that man when he looks mean. If I were you, I probably wouldn't want to be here. And they're like, yeah. And then they kind of shuffle off. Be back, Mayor! And they kind of like scatter off. And then what do you do?
I'm gonna turn around. I'm gonna knock on his door. I'm assuming he's got a door knocker because he's the mayor. So yeah, I'll slam that.
It's not an impressive house. It's not like some like 3-story mansion or anything like that. It is a nice house. However, it does have 2 floors. It's got some peaks on the peaked roof because it's Montana. You have to. And it's got like some nice shrubberies, good landscaping out in front and stuff like that. But again, it's not like this guy's like, you get the impression that he isn't necessarily like a professional politician who's been milking off the government for a long time. It looks like a guy's house.
Okay.
It's just been around for a while.
Yeah, I'll bang on his door and go, the crowd's gone. You're welcome.
Quiet for a moment, and then the door creaks open, and he goes, I don't, looks at you, looks at the star, and he says, I don't remember you being hired. We met, though, right? A couple of days ago. He kind of squints and looks at the rest of you. What's going on? Actually, he's a little, let me change hats for the mayor here.
Wardrobe change. Hey.
Here we go.
Ooh.
Nice.
And he's like, why don't you come in? Steps aside. You guys come in?
Yeah, head in.
Yep.
Tip the hat as I do.
Definitely.
All right. You can see, you come in a short hallway, a couple of rooms. They're mostly one large room down here on the first floor here, where it's got papers and file boxes all over the place. And he says, here, let me make sure you all have some place to sit down. How's the sheriff doing? He did not answer when I tried to talk to him earlier.
I think you'll find him a lot more responsive now.
Okay, all right. Seeing as how you got them 10, I'm going to presume the former owners all quit, which is going to be a problem. Because Moses didn't have any like extras of those laying around. So what's it like out there? He points out at the window.
Well, you got a lot of apparently folks waiting for you to do something, and maybe the other half is giving up on that and heading out of town.
Yeah, well, I'm not exactly sure what I'm supposed to do about that. I could get over there and talk, but I ain't really seen as a tough guy around these parts.
You don't say.
No, I'm
But
the
you
county.
are
I'm,
the
I'm
leader of the town.
Yeah, I'm an administrator at best. I ran the post office for years. You know, I did all the paperwork for this town. That's what I thought I was going to be doing. The biggest thing I ever did was plan this celebration.
So
Speaking of you being
give the people a reason to keep uplifted, look forward, look towards that celebration.
Yeah.
Instead of cowering here in your
I'm not even
house.
I'm not even sure that it's going to be done now. Half the work crew's already quit. Okay, so I got to make a speech, is what you're saying. All right, okay. We can call everybody to the fairgrounds and should be safe. I don't think it's going to fall down or nothing. And I can give a talk or something, right? I can take questions, make people understand that it's going to be all right, and that I don't know, give them fair warning to. I don't even know about what. I mean, who's doing this? Does the sheriff have an idea?
Mayor, you used to be the clerk of courts back in Hellgate time, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we might need to have a little bit of a tough conversation before you go out there and talk to those folks.
Oh, okay. All right. Tough conversation.
Yes,
About
sir.
what?
What do you know about Captain Williams and his band of vigilantes?
Williams. Is it Williams?
That's right.
I mean, you think he's doing this?
I
don't know
didn't say
why.
all that now.
So
I
he's
didn't
still
say all
around.
that. I'm asking you what you know about him.
Well, let's see. He was working as a gold miner in Alder Gulch, and everyone was pretty sure that the sheriff in Bannock was letting road agents know when big shipments were being sent off to the banks, because and seeing how they couldn't turn to the sheriff to fix it because he was in on it, they formed themselves this vigilante group. They called the Montana Vigilance Committee, and he stepped forward to lead it because he used to be in the military back east during the early days of the war. And yeah, so he was sort of like their commanding officer. He picked the targets, they rode in and set about, as the way I think he described it was doled out justice to them that need it, I think was the phrase he said.
Yep, that's what we heard too, but what about all the innocent people he prosecuted? All the notes they left on people's doors? Apparently you knew something about that too back then.
Well, I mean, I heard tales. But none of that happened here. I mean, this was back in the Hellgate days, and even then they only came to the Hellgate twice. And they were and the vigilance committee stopped existing before by the time Missoula became a place. We basically we shut down Hellgate and everyone moved over here to the mills. Vigilantes never came here because by the time here was here, there weren't the vigilantes anymore.
What do you remember though about the times that got bad? Those 2 times you said that maybe somebody might have been overlooked or prosecuted without cause. You were the clerk of court.
Well, I mean, without cause is kind of stretching it a little bit for here. Cyrus Skinner was the first feller. Him and his boys. They rode into town. They used to work with Bonner. They used to work in Bannock for the sheriff down there. And it was pretty clear that they were on the run. And he had a record of being a highwayman in the past. That was pretty certain. The other case was over some native feller who got in a fight with somebody, and he got strung up for it after killing somebody else. Those are the only two incidents that happened around here.
Well,
and that guy was like handed over by their chief. You know, they did a raiding party on some farmstead, and when the white folks got upset about it, Chief offered up one of them for punishment, his own son, and the Vigilance Committee strung him up. So I think can't really say that was I mean, if it was handed over by the chief, then it must have been, that was seen as an admission of his guilt, you know?
When he mentioned Cyrus Skinner's name, like, I turn around and I look at my comrades, since like we know that's the guy that was at Mama Haddock's farm.
Mm-hmm.
These Mayor, these vigilantes. Sounds like William's still hanging around. Is that the case for the rest of his posse as well?
I mean, folks move around and all, but most of them were gold farmers. You know, panners and miners and stuff like that out of Alder Gulch. There ain't no gold here. Those people follow the flake. You know, and Ghost Rock. You don't see them around here. This is more logging country or farmland.
Well, to get right to it, I don't think it's Captain Williams that's causing trouble.
All right.
Somebody after Captain Williams is causing trouble.
After him? Oh. Yeah.
And it ain't necessarily somebody. More like
Somebody.
something.
Give me a persuasion roll.
I'm gonna spend
Hold
a
on.
penny on that one.
Hold on to that
Oh.
if you want.
Okay.
Just the other night, Mayor, we were out at my farm, and these things showed up that you would not believe. Seemed human, anything but. And they were after one thing, Captain Williams.
You give me a persuasion roll.
Okay. Five, success.
That is a success. He listens to you and he says, all right, I've heard strange things in the past. I'm not going to say no. It's strange times, that's for sure. But that's a hard tale to tell to a group of people and make them calm down. It seems more like the sort of thing you do when you want to make them more scared. So
Well,
you
we-
say you saw these things. What happened? Did you kill? Can you kill them?
Not in so many words.
Okay.
They might
Well,
vanish on you, but
okay. All right. He seems like he's trying to collate all this information. He's just like, all right. So you saw something at your farm, and it wasn't. It was more of a thing than a person, but it was looking for Mr. Williams. Okay. Well then, what do you want from me?
Well, where's Mr. Williams at?
He stands up, kind of paces around the table like he's trying to work out something. He goes, you can't go around talking too publicly about this. Right? I mean, I respect a man's privacy and all. But Williams, he did not, by the end of everything that happened, he did not want to be the face of the Vigilance Committee no more. He'd be the first to tell you that they went too far and that he sort of lost control. He was a soldier in the conflicts in Kansas, what they called Bloody Kansas on the border wars. And he had thought he had put it behind him. Came out here and, well, bloodlust and the killing, it kind of, in the way I think he described it, was in it, it dug its hooks into him. And, well, he did not like who he became on that road. He asked that I take his name off the properties. Gave him a new one. He set up in a cabin, a little farm. He just asked that we just forget Williams. I think it goes by.
Mayor, I need you to kind of get to the point here, because what our point is that there are people here who have certainly not forgotten Williams, and that's why Russell, Morgan, and
Okay, all right. There's a small trading post east of here in the Hellgate Valley, through the pass, called Bonner. That's about 8 miles if you follow the road. It marks the split in the trail there. You keep moving east down Mullen Road, you get all the way over to Deer Lodge and parts further. But if you veer off at Bonner, at the trading post, up into the hills there's a trail. On the far side of that ridge, there's another valley. I don't even think it has a name. Big flat area. There's a really pretty lake. And he settled up there. Goes by the name Davis now.
Very helpful. Thank you so much, Mayor.
so you obviously have this information, and we appreciate that, but having that information is very detrimental to your well-being, unfortunately.
He looks suspicious at you and like, what do you mean?
You might
Like,
not want to
suddenly-
mention that.
Oh,
Might not want to mention that when you go out there and talk to the people of the town.
I haven't thought about Captain Williams in years. I never would have.
Somebody else is doing nothing but thinking about him, and they are going person to person that might know his whereabouts.
Well, I'm pretty sure I may be the only foot person around here that does. As the county clerk, I know, I did all the paperwork for the land.
Well, everyone, I think you potentially already made your bed as a bit of a coward around here, as you said. You have somewhere else you can take off to, Mayor? Go hide?
Yes. I don't want to give you the impression that I'm a coward. I'm just saying without a plan and the force of the law to rely on, there ain't much that I can take care of.
I understand, but call it an excuse for your absence, because
You know what? Yeah, okay. I can ride over to Fort Missoula. Try and see if I can get an army to come into town, help calm things down.
I just look to the others, kind of get their input on the situation as well.
Whatever you think is gonna work, you're supposed to know this town better than anybody as the mayor. So if you think that people are gonna...
It's the reason the fort's there, right? Protect the valley. All right, I'll pack up and I'll tell the sheriff, or you can tell the sheriff that I'm heading out to the Fort Missoula to get the troops to come in, help calm things down, secure the area.
When you expect you're gonna be back then?
Well, if I ride out now, and if they listen, I could probably get troops back here by nightfall.
All right.
Okay.
Until then, we'll keep an eye on the city for you.
All right.
I see that, Clayton.
Hey, Morrow. You got anything you can give the mayor here? Something that'll make the brass up there pay a little closer attention?
I reckon I don't have too much more to say, but if he's willing to stand behind me, I might be willing to be bigger than what's come before. There's no knowledge I can portray, but if he's willing to dig in, and I think it hasn't happened before, but perhaps Bob pulls out. It's not a brass sort of, or it's not a tin sort of identification, but Bob does brandish a badge that is not related to that sort of tinny
Local sheriff
sort of things, but it does have a little bit more federal relationship.
What does it say? What does the badge say?
Agency or
Okay.
Like it's absolutely a Pinkerton badge that
Just doesn't say Pinkerton on it. It just says special agent.
Right. Yeah. So he is an agent, and he's willing to support like the mayor in their in their actions, but if need be, he will brandish it to the public and be a special agent for everyone that needs to know it.
Wait, so I'm assuming this conversation is going on in front of Frank. And he goes,
Yep.
So Wait, so you're saying you're gonna come to the fort with me? Or you're giving me the
Well, I
badge
reckon
to
I
show
might.
them?
Yes.
Or okay.
If
Okay.
if I need to, I am.
Well, I mean,
Bob, I think, as we talked about earlier, I think it's gonna be better that you stick around, and we're certainly going to, have some conversations about that extra piece of shine you have there. But I assume you're not going to hand that off to Mayor. So I don't think we
I-
have the time
I-
for a detour here.
But he needs to know that we're going to be backing him up in that way, should we need to do so.
oh, okay. All
I'm
right.
with you. I'll be here.
All right.
But if it calls to it, if it comes to
Okay.
it.
All right. All right. He sets out to start gathering up some stuff to take with him. And he says, unless there's any other things that you needed, he starts to he heads outside, and starts going over to like this little shack garage sort of thing to on one side of the house where he's got a horse buggy set up, like one of those one horse buggies on, kind of looks like a little chariot with a seat on it. And he starts hooking up his horse to it, and once that's all set up and ready to go, he says, all right, so I'm heading down to Missoula. To Fort Missoula, and I'll get the troops. I'll talk to the captain there and see if we can get some people up here, get some put a little show of force on the street and calm people down. They'll make them feel safe. Meanwhile, you tell the sheriff where I've gone and what I'm up to. All right. Oh, okay. All right. He says, yeah, and he kind of kicks off, and the buggy kind of bounces away, and he's like, whoa. Holds on to his hat as it takes off.
I kind of watch him as he drives off, and I look at Clayton and I say, that coward ain't coming back.
Be a miracle if he does.
Yeah.
All right, so as he rides off, you now know where you can find this Captain Williams.
So
About 8 miles. He said about 8 miles to Bonner, then up into the mountains from there. If you left now, you'd be getting to Bonner around nightfall, or actually a little after nightfall.
now I think we all would agree that Mr. Williams did some pretty bad things. We might all agree as well that a man could maybe atone for those wrongdoings. But is there a path here that we just turn these flower suck men over to where they want to go and take care of our troubles?
I think that's a wise choice. We almost haven't been, or have been, subject to digging into perhaps some cattle shenanigans that perhaps might have portrayed us as that sort of that sort of committee. And
I just know that
I am want to be subject to the same sort of judgment 20 years from now that we're seeing being convicted here. I want a clean heart. and I want to bring about clean hearts. So let's dig in. Let's
that's a
do better,
no.
and let's make them better.
Yeah, Bob's a no. Yeah.
Bob's a no in turning over the living feller to them ghosts that are going around killing everybody.
Well, you can
But that's just
understand that.
one vote. So.
You can understand that Mama is on my mind, and
What do the other two of you have to say?
Well, I think one way or another we need to go out there. And either we need to protect Captain Williams, put down these ghosts best way we can, or maybe we need to talk him into giving himself over willingly.
I think I'm a Clayton there. I think, while yes, I agree, every man deserves a second chance. I also believe that a man needs to be able to speak for himself. And if we like what this gentleman has to say, then I say we hunker down and protect him. But end of the day, he couldn't just decide that he don't want to be associated with the movement he started because it went south. Sounds like bad management rather than bad actors to me.
he needs to own up.
That's right. Maybe go pay him a visit.
Well, and that's fine. I just hope that more ropes don't end up around limbs while we're gone.
Before you go or do anything, before we go to break, what is the next course of action for the group?
I think before we actually, if we are going to head out, I think before we do, we need to get the sheriff to get everyone who hasn't already been rounded up from the Hellgate days, get them into some kind of storm cellar and do the same thing that we had the shopkeeper do.
Okay.
Marshal, can you Frenchtown?
What about it?
Is that a not booming but a living town?
Yes.
Okay.
It was used to be bigger than Missoula, but it's kind of trickling off because they don't have a rail stop there. The rail just was too far away from Frenchtown, so that a lot of the traffic that used to go through there is now being directed to Missoula. So it's kind of like dwindling away, but it's still active.
Okay. I'm gonna lean into some stubbornness here. I want to make a pit stop before we head out. I assume we're all heading out, but I want to stop by Delmonico.
Okay. All right. So you want to head over to the Delmonico. You want to help. Clayton wants to talk by the sheriff and tell him to circle the wagons on all the old Hellgate residents. Any other calls to action from Jem or Bob?
Can I
No,
can I stop by either maybe their library or wherever they would have like old nursepaper records and see if I can
Montana
just
Pioneer. It's called the
Yeah.
Montana Pioneer, and you saw the office yesterday, or the last time you were on this side of town. So you definitely know where it is. Sure.
Awesome.
And Bob, which of these three groups are you planning on tagging along with?
Oh, I think Clayton is the most juicy, but may we drop into an occult roll just to see where things are going? Like this is a dark spot we're digging into, but if
Well, I'm not really sure what you're
not,
trying to occult. You just you give me something
okay,
specific,
no, then
that you're looking
just
into.
following with Clayton, like digging into
Okay.
following him for sure.
All right. Okay. And that's where we'll pick up after this break.
Quick. Yes. Open your eyes. We've arrived, my friends. to a place of such abundance and beauty, like none have ever seen before. Misty Mountain Gaming has all you could ever need for your tabletop role-playing accessories. Metal dice, acrylic dice, dice trays, and many other tabletop role-playing accessories can be found within the halls of MistyMountainGaming.com. The forge is always hot. The tanners and tailors always working to create new and improved equipment for adventurers such as yourselves. And just for joining us on this journey, take 10% off of your entire cart with the coupon code VALOR at checkout, saving you a little extra gold for that tankard of ale waiting for you at the inn. So grab what you need and start your journey now by heading to MistyMountainGaming.com, where you too can find the treasure of a lifetime.
Welcome back, everybody. Last we left off, the group was splintering off in 3 different locations. Jim was going to the newspaper office, Clayton going over to talk to the sheriff, give him the lowdown on the plan, and Amy was going all the way down to Delmonico's for some sort of conversation with whom we shall see. Closest to Mayor Woody's place is the sheriff's office, so we'll take care of that first. So you come strolling into the sheriff's office. The sheriff seems a little bit more cohesive. He's drinking, leaned into his coffee habit a bit more than his alcohol habit, and he seems to be awake, at least, if a little bit, unstable still. And you tell him, is there anything specific that you need to tell him that other than just the basic plan that Mayor Woody's gone off to the Fort Missoula to bring back troops, and that you're heading off to find Captain Williams? Or do you not tell? Or is there something you don't tell them? Let me put it that way.
I'll fill him in on all the major details. The first question I have for him, though, is were you able to find any more help, Sheriff?
He says, well, all my regular boys, other than my brother-in-law, they took off. So I just have that one deputy and you two, I guess. Or did your friends sign up? No, Jen was still here. That's right.
Well, just to fill you in on the development so far, the mayor's gone off to Fort Missoula. He's gonna see if he can get the army to come down here and reinforce him a little bit.
Ah. It looks like he leaves a bad taste in his mouth. But he's like, he kind of goes, well, what are you gonna do?
And we're gonna go someplace where we can hopefully end things. I don't want to tell you too much, because the more people that know this, the more opportunity whatever it is that's out there is going to have to pull it out of somebody.
That is mighty vague. Huh. So you're going somewhere to end this. Get an idea of what that is? Or can I have some idea?
You've been pretty honest with me this whole time, Sheriff, so it's only fair that I do the same for you. I'm not going to tell you where, but I'll tell you what.
Okay.
These things are looking for Captain Williams.
Oh, yeah. You mentioned him.
We know where he is, and we're going to go to him. But that's all I can tell you.
All right. Okay. When you taking off?
As soon as possible.
Okay.
One more thing I need from you.
Well, it sounds. Oh, yeah. Go on.
We got. What was the shopkeeper's name again? Was it
Earl Bennett.
Roll.
We sent Earl Bennett out to gather up some of the folks who were around back in the Hellgate days.
All right.
Anyone who he didn't get to, I need you to get to them.
Okay.
Stick them somewhere with only one entrance, one exit, somewhere like a storm cellar, something like that.
Okay.
Put a line of salt in front of the entrance.
He cocks an eyebrow at this. All right.
Stand guard over them with a scatter gun loaded with rock salt.
Give me a persuasion roll.
Alrighty. Oh, I need a Benny on that one.
You can take a +1.
Um,
You got 7 of them.
Got a lot of
Yeah,
bennies too, though.
I'll take a +1.
Okay. Yeah, sitting on 6 +1s left and 12 bennies in the party pot here. All right, so he nods and he goes, I mean, there's plenty of sellers around here, but I think might be a better sell to pull them all into the church.
I reckon that'll work too.
All right. Talk to the sisters. Cut to Jem walks into the Missoula Pioneer, and where they ask if you'd like to place an ad or what you're looking for. And what do you say?
Yeah, I'm actually looking for some old records on Hellgate back in the time that was a city. Y'all had a newspaper, and I'm looking for some articles about some goings on in or around that area.
He goes, oh yeah, sure. We got papers that go all the way back to the county, and some from before then. What year are you looking for?
I'm looking for around maybe between 1850 to 1865.
That's a lot.
Yeah, maybe I can narrow it for you. How about we say 1860 to 1865?
Okay, all right. They pull out a few kind of beaten old boxes of stuff. It takes about 20 minutes or so for them to kind of like pull it all together, and they give you an area where you can sit down and kind of like flip through it all.
Awesome. So the things that I'm looking for in these papers, I'm looking for information about the Montana Vigilance Committee, and but in particular the issues that they had with that Native American gentleman that was handed over by his tribe. And I'm also looking into Skinner and his goons. Those two experiences specifically, but just generally trying to get a feel for, how lawful were these men and how depraved did they get toward the end.
Do you mention any of that to the guy, the newspaper guy?
I tell the newspaper guy about Skinner. And the Native American guy, I don't think I specifically talk about the depravity that I'm looking for.
Well, the guy goes, well, I think all that stuff, actually, he starts taking boxes away. He says, you're going to want 63 to 64. Vigilance Committee didn't come along till 63, and they were pretty much done by the end of 64.
Only 1 year.
Yeah. They burned out pretty quick.
It's a lot of chaos for just 1 year.
It was a strange year.
Yeah, I'd like to take a look at that.
All right. So it will take an hour or so to skim through all this sort of stuff.
Okay.
Give me, and it will take a research roll.
So I don't have research.
No, you don't.
That's cool.
Marshal's like,
3.
Can I use a group Benny?
Certainly.
Oh yeah.
Spent.
I'm gonna
And
spend another one.
all right, spent. That's a 2. Still
How many? I'm gonna spend one of my own.
okay.
Maybe I'll have like better luck if I spend one of my own.
That's still a 3.
Maybe. Plus one.
I'm gonna. Can I use a +1?
Yes, you may.
All right, let's do
would
that.
be nice, but
All right, so that's a success.
A raise would be nice. Should I just do it one more time?
no. Stick
No?
with it. Stick with the
Okay.
success.
I think we're good.
All right.
You gotta
Everybody
save 'em
remember,
for your flirting
the
later.
team was against being a Benny horde. So.
All right, so with that, you find accounts all that take place after the fact of both trials that took place in Hellgate, and the story seems pretty much the same as was both established earlier. You get they don't seem to really bother with giving names for the chief or his son. It just but they do give a full account of the raid on the farmhouse. It's very very clearly tilted in the direction of the white settlers and the savage attacks by and all that sort of stuff, and so it's very one-sided, certainly. But it does seem like there were no further altercations between the tribes, out of that, and there are the only 2 instances of the vigilante activity in the Missoula Valley area. All the others were all further east for the most part.
Okay. So what about Skinner?
What about Skinner? Yeah, it sounds like Skinner is in the article. It sounds like he's noted as having come in January of '64 and bought. There you find some articles about him buying and reopening an old shut down saloon in Hellgate, and then basically he's not in Hellgate for very long before the vigilantes show up, like a month or 2 later, looking for him. Is on the run, so he doesn't have a whole lot of time in Hellgate. He's not, and doesn't really come up very much in the papers. Just really, just the only couple of mentions are him opening up the place, and then articles written about the night that the vigilantes showed up and all that horror.
Is there do I see any names that stick out as members of his crew?
Oh yeah, you get you see a full list of names there. They list all of them.
Are any of them Jack? Because I know we talked to some of the guys at Mama Haddock's, but are any of them named Jack?
No. The list of the names are Cyrus Skinner, Alex Carter, Bob Zachary. Bob. That's curious. Johnny Cooper and Levi Boone Helm, who's occasionally listed a few times as Cannibal Boone, because apparently in a very salacious portion of it, he was famous for having eaten a few folks and bragged about it.
Okay. So after I kind of soak all of this in and see that it kind of just confirms what we already know, I try to head up to meet with my compatriots.
He says, and then as you're getting ready to leave, he says, "So you just wanted?" The guy looks at you and goes, "Did you care about any of the other stuff, like from anywhere else other than Missoula?"
Mostly just looking for Missoula and Hellgate and the
Alright.
like. Is there anything that you might know that might interest me?
Well, I think this is the. He goes, I mean, I'm not sure what it would interest you. I just, just want to make sure that you got all your bases covered.
You know, any unusual stuff that might be around here, maybe with some people getting hung or that, that rhyme the kids say, the sackcloth man, anything with that?
No, I'm sorry, that doesn't ring any bells. I can look through it if you want, if I've come across something.
I appreciate that.
Okay, so sackcloth men.
That's right.
You want to tell me what this might be about? You see, he's kind of like pulls out a small little notepad and kind of lays it on the table. Like he's,
Mhm.
'cause this sounds like a mighty interesting line of events here. I mean, could always use something good for the paper. If you got a story,
Yeah,
that is.
I got me a friend come from Hellgate, and he's been having a little trouble putting his demons to rest. Just trying to, get him some closure on some items.
He
That
seems
one particular rhyme, used to really terrorize him. Trying
he
to be a good friend.
seems a little disappointed at that. And goes like,
Mhm.
"Oh, yeah, human interest. Yeah, that always goes over real well." All right. Okay. All right.
Appreciate it. We can
I'll
talk
I'll
again.
I'll, I'll
Talk
keep
again when
my
I come back into town.
okay. Give me one last notice roll before you leave. Oh, critical failure. All right. So as you walk out, the camera just looks over to one side at the sheaf of the most freshly printed newspapers kind of sitting there on the countertop, and you just walk right by it, and it's got a little article there about the new Missoula brewery owner, and it's got a little puff piece about her on it, but you don't notice it, and you go right by.
I need to know.
All right, cut to Delmonico's.
Walking
Amy,
inside
you
the
come,
restaurant.
you come walking up to Delmonico's. It's about a little past noon, right? Or we'll say 1 o'clock after your conversation with the mayor.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's sort of a lunch rush going on. There's a bunch of people in here, although it's not really packed. Yeah, there's about half full of people getting on lunch break, eating some food. A couple people in the saloon itself. You can see that actually, Amy, Amy is Annie.
Annie,
Annie
yeah.
is here. Annie is here. And you can see situated at one end of the bar, or actually, face in the front entrance so that he can see anybody who comes in. Is that tall, slim feller that you saw on the street earlier? He just got a bottle of whiskey on the. He's actually not at the bar. He's at a little table near the bar. He's got a bottle of whiskey and a shot glass, just sitting there. He doesn't appear to be touching it necessarily.
He's at a table.
Yeah.
Is the bar, like, end of the bar nearby?
Yes.
Near enough. Okay. I want to go to, like, the end of the bar, but near him, definitely an earshot.
Yes.
And tip my hat and kind of call out to Annie. Say, "Good to see you, ma'am. How's the lunch rush going?"
It's going good. She looks real nervous.
Well, I'm apparently the errand boy. Today, came to get some grub before we hit the road. And just wondering if you could help me rustle up something for me and the rest.
Okay. Yeah, sure. Anything you need.
Yeah, just something that, hold good for the trip. I'm going to be on the trail for a bit. And, head a little north up to Frenchtown.
Okay.
So,
All
on the
right. Well,
trail
that's a good ways. Guess we won't be seeing you till. Oh, geez, it's like 2 days there and back.
Yeah, so maybe pack a couple extra meals in there for us.
All right, for you or for?
For everybody.
Okay, I'll see to it.
Appreciate
Kind
it.
of. She hurries off to get that kind of put together for you.
Just kind of sit and wait. Keep to myself. Yeah, I'll peek over my shoulder once. See our tall friend, what he's doing.
He's sitting there looking at the shot glass.
Okay.
Does not look up at you. But you get the feeling that he is listening to everything that's going on.
Did Annie's nervousness pull away when I mentioned why I was there? Or did it still seem to hold?
She seems like creeped out by best guess. She seems disturbed by the presence of this other guy.
Okay. Well, otherwise I'll just kind of wait for the meals to come out, and throw pay for those as needed, and just tell Annie again, say I really appreciate it. It's mighty fine grub you guys put out here. Be good as we're chasing loose ends up towards Frenchtown. So, and I'll tell Jem you said hello.
Give me a persuasion roll.
Okay. Oh no!
Oh,
No!
As you're saying this, you're like to Frenchtown. You're just leaning into it a little bit heavy and a little bit loud, and you kind of like dart your eyes over real quick to see if he's picking up on the clues you're leaving, and he never lifts his head and never looks in your direction, but you just kind of see his very taut and serious face, just kind of one lip kind of just curls into a big wide smile.
There might be a silver lining here. So, but yeah, with that, I'll grab my food and head out.
Go out. And with that, yours goes a little bit quicker, and you're basically the last person to sort of show up and meet up with the other three of you is Jem, who spent a little bit of extra time there at the newspaper office looking for some sort of articles. And with that, you guys get your horses out of the livery and head out.
Did you get lost underneath all those papers there, Jim?
Yeah, a little bit. My eyes a little crossed, but nothing like riding moonlight here to get my head screwed back on tight.
I got you some food, but probably cold by now, and Annie's scent probably wear off too. She said she made it extra special just for you.
She asked about me?
Oh, she did, of course. Barely had time to fit in my order.
Well, that's good news. I'm like happily snacking on my sandwich.
Our
All right.
friend was there as well. As I expected.
What was that goon up to?
Standing at the bottom of a glass. Uh, my intentions were trying to put him off. Maybe send him off somewhere, but I think I kind of got caught up in myself and not sure, but
Takes a big
anyway,
man to admit that, Amy. And I kind of pat you on the back.
just trying to make sure that Mama gets out of this.
Can I look around when he tells me that he got ahead of himself, he might have said too much? Can I like
Yeah.
look around, maybe like slyly kind of like look behind us now that we're like headed out on the road?
Yeah, sure. As you're crossing the bridge out of Missoula and back onto and then heading east towards Hellgate Pass, you kind of peer around and look around and give me a notice roll. Ooh,
That was dangerously close.
It's another critical failure. Yeah. All right, 2 and a 2. Oh no,
I didn't mean to
5.
roll extra ones.
Oh,
There's my
okay.
third, Betty. Sorry.
Okay. All right.
5, yes. What is happening? Sorry.
Well, because you spent a Benny and assumed you wanted to re-roll. So no, we're gonna go with the 5 roll, which is still would have been the same as a 7. You head out, you cross the bridge, and kind of keep an eye out, and you don't see anything necessarily, but as you're riding along about an hour or so later, you kind of look back and you can see some in the distance, some dark silhouette of a rider on horseback heading this same general direction as you. You approach. It's you don't get a good long glimpse because unfortunately you're riding up right to the mouth of Hellgate Pass at this time, and once you're through those the narrow once you're there through the narrow seam between the two, it's gonna be a turn, and then you're gonna lose all sort of long distance view sight lines. You know, and you're going to head into the heavily wooded trees and the stiff cliff walls on either side, and it's going to be hard to see anything more than a few hundred feet behind you.
All right. I kind of get like a little hitch in my my step there with Moonlight, and I go up alongside Clayton, and I tell him in a hushed voice so as not to upset Amy. Hey man, I don't think we're alone out here. I don't think it's a problem right now. It ain't a problem, but before we head into this Hellgate Pass, just want to let you know, saw someone coming up, bringing up our rear.
Well, I figured it was a crapshoot whether or not someone would follow us out here.
And this is this is right around the time you're hitting the cliff, the pass between Mountain Jumbo and Mountain Sentinel, and you kind of go deep into the tree lines. This is the area that the French trappers named the Port de Enfer, gates in Fury after Infernal. What was colloquially then transcribed into Hellgate. This is the place where the Blackfoot tribes would ambush the Salish Indians on their way east to hunt buffalo. The narrow walls, the canyon, the dense trees provide ample locations for ambush through here. It's been thinned some with the arrival of the railroad and the laying of Mullen Road, but there's still a sense of oppression once you move into the shadows of the mountains. They seem to, all mountains are sort of in your brain, kind of like pyramids. They all slope away from you into points, right? But it's hard to describe when you're riding through here. It's more like they're leaning over you and in through the trees when you get glimpses of them. But you ride on, following the Mullen Road as it bends a little bit to the north. You can feel the eyes of history glaring up at you from the shards of bone in the ground all around you as you move through. They say that this place was once covered in human bones from dead warriors that had been killed in the various ambushes. Although the railroad, it's said, cleared a lot of that. Others folks say they just kind of ground it up and mixed it in with the gravel when they laid the tracks. It's about 8 hours. It's 8 miles, which and you make out the lights of the Bonner trading post right around nightfall. As you come looping up to it, you can certainly ask for directions here. It looks like a small, little more than a shack, actually. It's not a particularly large trading post as you approach. Place for a shack and some stables. It certainly looks lonesome as you approach. Feller's just sitting out there on the porch, kicked back in a chair, sees you come riding up. He goes, "Moving late."
Good
Can I
evening,
help
sir.
ya?
We're looking for a friend of ours. Goes by the name of Davis. Got a little patch of land around here.
He just kind of stares dumbly at you.
Trying
Yeah.
to find a place to bed down for the night. Is that within short distance from here?
He looks out and he goes, "Well, the other side of the hills. Keep riding. Make it there a couple of hours. It's tricky though, in the dark."
So I look at everybody else and I say, y'all want to hunker down around these parts and maybe start up again in the morning?
Where are you from?
Oh, I have family down in New Orleans, but I'm up here staying in Missoula, just out here, looking for some fresh air, big sky, and a good friend.
He nods. All right.
You said, Marshall, this is basically a trading post is really all that's here, right?
Yep, just basically a trading post where they sell some supplies and gear and a shack for horses, and that's about it.
Jim, I don't reckon there's much establishments around here for ourselves unless we were setting up camp, and I just as well figured we'd try and get to our destination at this point.
So
Anybody-
when Amy says that to me, I kind of, yeah. Sorry.
No, go on.
No, I was gonna choose to share with him that we were followed at this point.
Oh, okay.
So just, letting him know that somebody was pulling up the rear, and it might be safer since we all kind of had the consensus. We didn't want to just like give him over to this man. We wanted to let him like plead his case. We shouldn't like lead him to this person's farm.
Yeah. Okay.
I got my bedroll, got it back, got my whiskey.
You guys all just kind of on your. I mean, there's a good place where you can water your horses here. You can get off and give them a little break. You've been on them for a couple hours, for about 6 hours here, so maybe just give them a little respite. The guy at the trading post, kind of gets up and like leads them over to the water troughs. He says, "There's food inside. If you're looking for anything or supplies." He points to the sort of shacky looking trading post itself. And if anybody of you go in, you see a variety of things that people living out here might need, including extra blankets and furs and kerosene and other various gear and that sort of thing. Clay and everybody just give me a notice roll.
Alrighty.
All right, so I see Amy got a 5, Jim got a 10, Clayton got a 6. How about Bob there on that notice roll?
Robert.
Yeah, so you guys, Jim, while you're kind of like milling around, you see a really nice set of a horse tack, like really, really pretty. Good strong leather. It's dyed with a nice deep red brown kind of color, and it looks almost brand new. It catches your eye because it kind of stands out amongst all the other stuff here. And because there's 4 of them, and they're identical, and much higher quality than pretty much everything else in the shop.
I go out and I ask the
Bob, how's that
caretaker.
roll coming?
Oh, we are
Notice.
rocking it.
Okay. All right, so you're saying?
I go out and I ask about him. I say, hey, so there's some nice horse tack in there. I see there's 4 of them all right the same.
Yeah.
That seems too good to be true. Where'd you get some piece of finery like that?
Oh, we're getting a lot of folk coming through. Selling what they can so they can keep going. Missoula ain't so... Missoula ain't...
That nice piece?
Oh, I don't know. Some fellers moving east. Missoula ain't that popular. All right, so Bob, you roll a 6, but I'm giving you a +2 because that tack is very familiar. So that would be a success and a raise, and you kind of look at it, and you get this cold kind of feeling. And you go over to it, and you check underneath the saddle flap, and you see stamped right there in the leather, RCMP.
Oh, goodness. That's an absolute sort of white RCMP or it's just a literal embrace. Like they don't know what to do for that sort of impersonation. Like, it's
I'm sorry, what's going on?
Sorry, like if it's RCMP, then they have ultimately that sort of white phrase. No ability to sort of articulate otherwise.
Okay, you see Bob.
They are still confused for that RCMP.
You mean Bob is? Bob is confused?
Bob,
Yeah.
well, no, Bob is so confused that they just don't know what to do.
Okay, you see Bob just kind of like goes white as he's looking at the tack that you were talking about. And you can just see kind of this kind of look of panic in his eyes.
Morrow, you doing all right, man? I know it's a nice piece of equipment. I never seen somebody react to a saddle with quite like this.
And I think he's sort of trying to describe what might be appropriate, but just sort of.
Well, what do you say? Let's hear it.
Oh. I ain't got to dig into this, but Tatunka Tokeka. Like I think he like sort of resorts to a very, very scary sort of character that he was subject to.
Okay.
And
so Bob, this is kind of like reduced to some sort of gibberish, and Clayton
Yes.
and Amy, you see this going on as well. Feller, the guy who runs the trading post, kind of looks a little confused, and he's like, well, it's getting late.
Bob, you need some fresh air. Let's go check on the horses.
And in the same way that Bob provided so that sort of air for Amy's red eye, like he's just sort of lost.
Okay.
Lost in it.
Hand over his shoulder and just kind of usher him outside of the trading posts.
Right, but yep.
Okay, you lead him outside, and the feller says, like, kind of the guy running the trading post kind of leans over to you, Jim, and goes, "You all right?"
Yeah, he's Canadian.
Oh, okay.
You know,
I'll walk over and lift up the flap to see what he was reacting to, and I'm guessing, upon seeing the seal there, I can kind of put together, knowing Bob the way I do, I can put together what's going on there.
Yeah. I mean, you saw what he reacted to. You couldn't make it out, but when you go up there and you look at it, it's 4 letters stamped into the leather: RCMP.
He just kind of lets out a whistle and looks over at Jem and goes, "I think we need to explain something here."
The fella who runs the trading post is like going, well, I'm going to close up, but he says, he points off the trail, you know, kind of like up, and he goes, there are some campgrounds over that way if you wanted to set up for the night.
And
Or,
how
you know-
much? How much would you want for one of them hardtack, one of them saddles?
Oh, well, let's see. What's the going rate for hardtack? Or for saddles here in the equipment list. Let's see if I can dig that up real quick. Let's going shopping. Here we go. Shopping episode. Let's see. Saddle. General cost for a saddle average is about 25. And he goes, he kind of looks at him and he goes, 30?
I kind of like look at him sideways. Yeah, all right. I'll come back round here for maybe another look in the morning. Give you some time to think about that price.
All right. So once you're out there on the street or the trail, shall we say, what do you guys do? All right, we're gonna take a quick break. Hi, and we're back. All right, so you guys have moved out. The trading post is closing up for the night. They make sure that your horses are watered, and they kind of point you off in the direction of the campgrounds if you intend to stop for the night, or if you continue to press on into the hills and get to the other side. About be another 2 hours riding through the dark. Which ones do you guys? Well, before we go see which ones you guys settle on, Bob, once you compose yourself, what do you tell your friends about about those saddles?
It might be that we need to dig into silver bullets. Like, we may need to be better than what we've got before. So, silver bullets.
Is that what you were using back at the farm?
Well, no. Amy. Bless you, but I was only making guesses. If I'm being clear, I don't know what we need to do to take care of these things, but silver is my first guess. But there's so many more things we might choose. But I'll pay for all of us having silver rounds.
It's a bit late. You're out here in the wood. You're out here in the woods at the moment.
What's your itch to have silver all of a sudden? Is it related to those saddles?
It is. Who?
I'm guessing who rode those saddles rather than the saddles themselves.
And it's less about those saddles and who we need to lay to rest. Let's just set them to rest.
You explain any further in any sort of actual details? What is Bob thinking is going on right now?
Bob wants to set them to sort of be unaltered and unquestioned by their relationships. So if could roll occult to just he doesn't know how to set them to rest, but he
Set who to rest?
hopes.
What do you think is going on? I want to hear what you think is going on right now. All right, so you guys come wandering in. Let me just recap real quick.
Yep.
You guys come wandering into this pass, and you find this trading post is about to shut down. Really familiar looking saddles kind of hanging up there in the trading post. You go check them out, and you see the stamp there, the RCMP. You recognize them as the saddles of Royal Canadian Mounted Police. You recall seeing 4 of them on the road a couple days ago. There's absolutely no reason that you can think of why they would stop and sell their saddles at some trading post. You don't understand how that could be possible.
So are these RCMP or sort of officers that have been
They're the
or like I feel like they're not
you don't know what
they are
yeah, you find it mighty curious that according to the guy who runs the place said, oh, just some people moving east, they sold them. And that doesn't make sense, Bob.
Okay.
And I don't know that it necessarily has anything to do with like the ghosts that have come up. It's just
it's something creepy, that's for sure. But that's about it. That's that you guys are aware that suddenly you don't feel safe here at Bonner.
And RCMP officers would be predictable in terms of what they would choose, but this is way, way, way out of the acceptable sort of.
Yeah.
No.
Who do those saddles belong to, Bob?
Well, I reckon it was those 4 that we passed by
On the way out
on
to
the trail,
farm?
but no. Well,
yeah. When you guys were riding out to the Haddock farm,
Yeah.
four men in matching uniforms rode the other direction towards Missoula.
But if it's somewhat strange that they were the ones that passed us by and then would also divest themselves of this. That ain't Royal Mounted Police. That's weird.
It's been a while since that incident happened, Bob. Any reason why anyone would come from up north looking for you at this point?
Oh, it's certainly why they'd come looking for me, and it's why you know me. And it's exactly why you explained to them why I am what I am. But
a sailor man. All right, so Bob seems a little frayed at the edges. And you guys all get a weird sinking sensation that you don't know how safe these campgrounds are going to be. Do you guys decide to set up or keep riding through the night?
Jem is in the camp of set up and take shifts.
Yeah.
Maybe like a 2 and 2, not even like a 1, and then 3 people are sleeping, like a 2 and 2 shift.
Okay. All right, so you guys head on over to the campgrounds you find, and you can see some signs of, other fires that have been lit in the past couple of days. There's still a couple coals here or there. As they said, a lot of people have been moving east. You heard a lot of people trying to get out of Missoula over the past couple of days. So, and you set up shifts. Who takes the first shift?
I'll stay
take-
up.
Okay, so Amy and Clay, you set up first shift. You get the night kind of goes on. You get about 2 or 3 hours into that shift, and you hear some rustling kind of coming up the trail, and you think you hear someone coming close to the campsite. What's your general reactions? when that happens?
I like hold my shotgun at whatever, like at the source of the rustling.
Mm-hmm.
I'd have my rifle up as I did before. I know it's super dark out, probably at night, but you know, if for some reason maybe there's a glint of moonlight, just kind of look down the rifle, at least an initial check in that direction. See if I see anything.
Oh yeah, you clearly see the fella who runs the trading post kind of like come walking up. And he's like, and you guys kind of like, he seems a little bit jumps back when he sees you guys with the rifles out, and so he's like, "Hey, you guys, light sleepers, you get some rest. You got you got distance to go."
Startled me is all.
Yeah. You startled me too. You need anything?
Just some peace and quiet. Something else you were after?
No. I ain't after nothing. He stands there for a little bit, just kind of staring at you guys. All right, see ya. Kind of turns around and walks back in the same direction.
Hold on a minute.
Yeah?
Why'd you come up here?
To see if you needed anything?
Check on all the people around here, or just us?
Well, you're the only ones here. What other people?
Was it a custom for you to do check-ins?
Oh. I guess. I don't know. Don't get a lot of people now with the train.
Is he acting different than earlier? Is he-
No.
Okay.
He's just kind of, I'm doing more of a voice.
Is he, would there be a way for me to tell if he's legitimately, kind of a dope, or if he's, like, putting on airs?
There's no insight check in Savageworlds.
Notice kind of, yeah.
Yeah. And you can kind of do notice, or you can kind of, if it's real opposed sort of thing, he'd be making a persuasion if he's like lying, and you'd be making a notice to kind of catch details. But you get the impression that he's not that bright, but it also doesn't, he still clearly doesn't, he's trying to cover. He's not very good at thinking on his feet either. He's like, okay, I'm gonna go.
Are you hiding something from me?
No. I ain't hiding nothing.
This time I'll do intimidation. I'm not going to point a gun at him or anything, but I'll get like right up on him and say, "Tell me the truth."
Okay, that's a success. He's like, I don't know. I just thought, see if you folks decide to camp or if you went up and kept going. I didn't know for sure. Sometimes folk don't want to ride through the hills at night and they stop here, and other times they do. And, just wanted to see which one you guys settled on.
Alrighty, we'll get to getting.
All right. So, you coming down in the morning, or you gonna press on through?
Tell you what, we'll make that decision, and you can find out when we make it.
All right.
Where will you be? How about this? We'll come find you. Where can we find you?
He points back down the hill towards the trading post.
All right, we'll see you there.
And he kind of shuffles off into the night, to the darkness. The rest of the night goes on uneventfully. Bright and early, you guys wake up. What do you decide to do?
Whenever the shift change was, definitely would explain to Jem and Bob.
Yeah.
What happened? Say, hey, just keep an eye out in case our trading post Tom comes up and gets nosy.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, apparently he's a little shy. He doesn't show up again after the greeting he got last time.
Does anybody need anything before we head out?
I mean, I reckon we need some directions. I'd also
Well,
like to know whether or not
there's a trail that leads, and you can see the trail by the light of day that leads up.
We got that from
into
the
the hills.
mayor, I think, directly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Oh, because he said it was tricky, so I wasn't sure if that was like.
Oh, they just said it's
only at
tricky.
night.
It's tricky to follow the trail at night.
Yeah, okay.
That's all it is.
Got it.
So, do you? And I'm assuming, unless otherwise, you guys just mount up, pack up your camp, head on up through the pass.
Can I take another look around to see if we're still being followed?
Yeah, sure. It's hard to spot anything, but give me a roll. I'm not going to tell you what your penalties are. Just roll.
Would it be better to do survival since it's like the terrain and stuff?
Survival would allow you to follow a trail.
Okay.
Notice is to see if anyone's following you. Oh, hey. Oh, hey.
Look at that.
Oh,
keep going.
my.
I'm seeing all the things.
13.
I said it's really hard, you said?
Yeah, it's real hard. It's real hard.
To your
So
elf
hard.
There's going to be some massive negative penalties.
Yeah. As you're cleaning up the campsite and you pack up the horses and you start up the hill, you kind of look down through the trees and you can just make out the trading post down there, and you can see some lone figure in black hitching his horse up there outside the trading post.
No.
And walking in.
I wait until the figure has walked in,
Mhm.
and I kind of say, like breathlessly, "We need to ride."
And you go riding up into the hills, where as it's strange in the early morning, as you ride up into the hills, you expect the mist to thin but it's like it gets thicker as you go up and begins to close in around the horses as you do. And as you ride along, you hear, just as you come cresting up the hill, you hear light and gentle sobbing coming from what appears to be a broken wagon that you see through the mist.
You son of a...
And we're gonna call the game there.
No.
No. Oh.
Hey folks, thanks for watching.
Oh God.
My name has been Cheyenne Wright, and hopefully will be next time you see us in the following weeks. I've been your Marshal this evening. Counterclockwise, or across the table here, we're going to start, we're going to work from the back, move forward. Ryan Howard, say hello for everybody and tell them where they can find you.
All right, everybody. So once again, I am the creator and host of Rollin' Bones with Ryan Howard, which you can watch here on Monday nights at 8 p.m. Central, twitch.tv/RollinBonesRyan. You can also find me on Instagram and Twitter at Howard_Ryan Gregg. And for those of you who are super into your Deadlands stuff, tomorrow night at 7 over at twitch.tv/RollinBonesRyan, I'm going to be doing a painting stream. And specifically, I'm going to be painting the Reaper Miniatures stone figure here, which I found out over the break our Marshal here, Cheyenne Wright, had a hand in the design for. So nice little bit of synergy there, but with the spooky season and with the Deadlands game going on, I'm going to be painting stone on stream tomorrow. So I hope you guys will join me.
Very nice. Yeah, I did all the turnaround sketches for those figures way back when. Moving back to front. Todd Moodbounce, say hello.
Hello again, everybody. Thank you so much for being here with us tonight for another wonderful session and amazing cliffhanger by our wonderful GM. I am Todd Moonbounce. You can find me online at Todd Moonbounce, Twitter and Twitch. Tomorrow I will be running a Deadlands game as well, running through the Horror at Headstone Hill module. So if you want to get more of some live Deadlands play, you can check that out as well. Bounce between me and Ryan's stream. And also I am creative frontman for Dungeon Jedi Masters, a podcast, and much more for Star Wars 5th edition, which we have an upcoming narrative podcast that will be starring one of my fellow companions here, and I'll let her talk about that.
Oh, yes, I want to hear all about this. So why don't we have Candace? Why don't you tell us all about this?
Hello, everybody. I am stressed out. Also known as Candace the Magnificent. I am very excited to announce this upcoming podcast, Scattered Choices, with Todd Moonbounce and Ray Zombie. I think there's going to be more of an announcement made tomorrow, so please keep your eyes peeled for that. But it's a narrative podcast. I play Tula Batunde, a Twi'lek, and Ray, I believe, is a human named Hugo. So definitely look for more information about that coming up soon. I also am in talks with Pinnacle, Peg Inc., the creators of Savageworlds, for an ETU study abroad session that may or may not be happening soon. So also
very nice.
Keep your eyes there. Shout out to them for their Halloween. Go ahead and sign up for some games and get your role play on. You can find me on Twitter at @CandaceGirl, as well as on Discord, Instagram, Twitch, and YouTube at Candace the Magnificent, all one word. Thank you so much.
And Bizarre Hands to bring up the tail end there.
The tail end. You asked me last time why I was called Bob, and if anyone is digging into this session, Bob is his family name. So we'll see what happens. But I am Bizarre Hands. My pronouns are he, him, and you can find me on Twitter and Instagram. I'm looking forward to digging into the next session next week. I'm joining you from Treaty 4 territory, the original lands of the Cree, Soto, Dakota, Lakota, Nakota, and homelands of the Métis. So we'll see you next week.
And for everyone at home, give a little preview of what's there in the mist. Just a little setup there for next week, where we're going to pick up the adventure. I have been Cheyenne Wright. You can see what I do at www.arcanetimes.com. I've been coloring Girl Genius for about 20 years. Last month, or at the beginning of this month, I took these for coloring and drawing the story, while our normal penciler, Phil Folio, gets his arm operated on and recovered from. He's doing well, is shaping up nicely. We're almost done with my little run on the Girl Genius story called The Monster Guild. I got the last 4 pages script in this week, so I'm going to be working on those last 4 pages over the course of the week, and it should be, by the time we come back here, I shall have just finished or be close to finishing the very last of those pages. Next week will be our Halloween episode here in this misty, fog-covered vale in the mountains of the hills here just north of Missoula. Tune in for that. I'm looking forward to seeing you there. And tell your friends, spread the word about this show, and tell them that, if they need anything, you're there. Because, if you're their friend, that's what you should do. And one day you might need them. You never know what's waiting for you behind the next tree.